Hey slots enthusiasts, as a bonus tip, I'll share the last thing you'll want to do before leaving the casino. That's coming up. None of us were born already knowing how to budget our bankrolls for playing slots at casinos. Plus, great internet advice for practical slots money management is all jumbled up with myths and misunderstandings. To provide clarity in slots money management, I've sorted through these internet suggestions and uncovered for you the 11 best and most practical tips. In part 5 of this video series, I've got 2 more of these useful tips for you. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. Tip number 7 from my last video explained how to reduce gambling expenses by using loss limits. But that's only half of your profit equation. If our goal is to take home more money than we arrived with, then naturally we'll need to win something. Next, we must avoid spending too much of that revenue. If you win as much as your bankroll, revenue equals expenses and profit is 0. In other words, it's a wash, although you may value the entertainment and club points earned on your card. Choosing to not make a profit is like going to any retail business or amusement park where you simply purchase what you want. But purchases are not the same as gambling. Winning on a slot machine means revenue can exceed expenses, sometimes by thousands of dollars. That's what many of us hope for, but far too few of us get. Instead, most of us go to a casino to purchase entertainment or to earn free stuff. And that's okay if those are your gambling goals. But some of us want to make money gambling. Maybe you do, even if it's not our primary goal. Most people go to a casino for entertainment value, but not everyone. Whether you take the money home or stay and use it to fund more entertainment is entirely up to you. Yet how do we take money home if it's so hard to leave a casino before spending all our bankroll and winnings beforehand? In other words, how do we preserve our gains? There are several ways to protect your winnings when playing a specific slot machine systematically. Whichever method you use means timing your cash outs. Preserving gains goes alongside of setting a loss limit, as explained in my last video of this series. Unlike loss limits, preserving gains isn't about losing money carefully. Instead, it's about your actions immediately following a win, perhaps even a substantial win. Let's go over 4 possible scenarios and what to do when you experience each of them. First, let's say you get a win which doubles or more than doubles your original bankroll. If your gambling goal is to make money, my best advice for you is to go home. Second, let's say you win the amount of your original bankroll. In this scenario, put those winnings away to take home, but continue playing with the remainder of your original bankroll. If no other wins occur, at least you won't lose money on this casino trip. I feel a certain amount of freedom when this happens, especially if it happens soon after I arrive. 3, win more than half of your original bankroll, but less than your original bankroll. I recommend putting away 50% of your winnings where you won't spend it. The hope here is that it'll happen again and again. 4, win less than half of your original bankroll. Here, continue to play until reaching your loss limit, as that's why you have one. This scenario is common for slots enthusiasts when randomly selecting slot machines. Here, consider using what you have left on another slot machine, or not. It's your call. You can continue to accept these losses because you can afford them, or check to see if your slot strategies work at your casino. Once again, it's your call. To keep these scenarios practical, I must point out 2 difficulties. First, slot machines don't allow you to cash out only part of your bankroll. How do you eject only a portion? You can't. Herein lies the charm of not using all your bankroll at once. With only part of your bankroll inserted into that slot machine, you can print a voucher for the full balance and then enter more cash without stepping away from that winning slot machine. The second issue is where to put your winnings so you don't spend it. One approach is to use a Winners Bank 200 or Gamble Gram Box, both available on Amazon. These lockable metal containers are slightly smaller than a wallet, if somewhat thicker. Both lockable wallets allow players to push bills in through a slot while its key remains at home. Unfortunately, at most it holds up to 30 or 50 bills, and both can jam well before inserting 30 bills. Jamming is less likely if you elaborately fold each bill as instructed, but I have my doubts about how I might do that when sitting at a slot machine. Fortunately, neither of these lockable wallets are necessary if you instead develop a few good habits. In only a few tries, I've successfully used a pocket for the same purpose. Besides which, as I have had cause to learn, a typical men's jeans front pocket will hold 100 bills of any denomination without any bills peeking out. The lockable wallets hold a lot less than that. And if you use both front pockets, meaning you find someplace else to put your phone, that's 200 bills or $20,000 in $100 bills. Again, I've been there and done that. For me, I use one front pocket as deposit only and the other front pocket for where I put the bankroll I'm working with. The bankroll pocket gets dipped into a lot, since I don't tend to hold a fistful of money when I go from machine to machine during my casino visits. But the first pocket is for deposit only. You can train yourself to use your pockets in this way. Because it is a habit, try to always use the same pocket for deposit only. You'll need to train yourself to take nothing out of it while you're still at the casino. I recommend thinking long and hard before making a deposit. Once it's in there, it's not supposed to come out. Treat it that way. I was surprised to find that it only took me about 3 tries before I never took anything out of that pocket until I got home. For each attempt, the money stayed deposited longer and longer. By my 4th attempt, I got home with what I deposited. You can use a pocket once you get into a habit and never have to worry about losing a key to a lockable container, which in essence doesn't hold that much anyway. Pockets are also a lot faster to work with in a busy casino environment rather than struggling with tightly folding bills and pushing them into lockable containers. And of course, it doesn't have to be the front pockets in a pair of jeans. It can be a wallet, purse, jacket pocket, and more. But it's easier to get into the habit if you don't often switch what you use for deposit only. What's your opinion on emotional control while gambling? Most gambling authors advise slots players to tightly control their emotions when playing. I take the opposite approach, although in moderation. As I wrote about in my book, for nearly a year after I returned to slots play, I was coldly analytical when playing slot machines. But it wasn't until I decided to get passionate that I started to win. Maybe loosening my emotions made me try harder to win, or perhaps it just helped me listen more closely to my instincts. Whatever the reason, the results were what mattered. Allowing yourself to be passionate, but not out of control emotionally, helped me to win a lot more at slots. Whether you feel you need to control your emotions or not, I suggest being yourself. Why? Because I want you to enjoy yourself when playing slots, even if you enjoy yourself the most when you're winning cold, hard cash. But there are limits. Don't break the slot machine in all your excitement, okay? Other slots enthusiasts might want to play it afterwards, especially if you are winning. Bonus tip. Before you leave the casino, make sure you swing by the promotions counter or kiosk again, just like you did when you arrived. Because of your play, you may have qualified for something useful. For example, you might have gotten a multiplier on your earned players' club points, applicable only on the same day as your play. So be sure to check. Also, of course, don't forget to cash out your vouchers before you leave. Now, maybe you want to know more about my winning slots advantages. In this playlist right here, I explain them starting with my most popular. So if you're wondering how to test for and use the winning slot strategies that might exist at your casino, like my only win immediately winning slot strategy, also known as the 5-pull method, check that playlist right here, and I'll see you in the next one.